We talked about the setback that the Cubs suffered yesterday.
Yeah.
We're talking about Shota Imanaga because in the 6th inning, that is when it reared its ugly head. Shota was trying to make sure the Cubs were able to turn 2 on Christian Yelich. Yelich fleet of foot. Shota, not necessarily as much, but you saw him pull up lame right there. And now he's going to head to the 15-day IL. He has been diagnosed left hamstring strain. So here's Craig with more on Shota's setback.
Yeah, so Shota, we put him on the IL. I think you guys know that. Yeah. And he'll see Dr. Grizz at, I don't know, closer to game time. We did do imaging, waiting for Dr. Grizz to take a look at it and go over it with Shota, and then we'll have a better idea. But, you know, after, you know, the way he walked off the field, we knew, you know, it was going to be an IL. So we'll get some information later and go from there. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, look, we're talking about Saturday and it's Tuesday or it's Monday, so we haven't made any decisions about that at this point. I really don't think we have to make a decision until the off day. Yeah, he's been pitching well and getting people out, striking people out. All of the above, fresh. Yeah, he feels pretty good today. You know, that's just in our conversation. Which, you know, I hope that's good news. It's better than feeling bad. But I don't want to. You know, I think we got to let the doctor look at him, let the imaging kind of guide us here.
You talked about doing anything possibly different with Horton in case you decide you need him at that point?
Well, Cade pitched yesterday, so there's nothing going on with him for a couple days. So he's an option.
Is Flexen stretched out in a way that he might be an option as well?
Yeah, absolutely. He's stretched out, yeah.
It's like, why wouldn't it be Horton? Is there any sort of, like, what's kind of the back and forth internally as you guys play?
Yeah, I mean, I think how we want to pitch that day is, I think we have options of how we want to decide to do that day. Yeah.
Meaning against the Mets in particular, or just kind of the state of the pitching?
Yeah, against the Mets. Yeah. Yeah, we got an off day on Thursday. You know, we got length in our bullpen, so we've got some ways to attack that game if we want to choose to do it differently.
Yeah, those baked-in Thursday off days are certainly a savior for Craig and this Cubs pitching staff. He said there's options that will be based on daily needs. So how big of a blow could this be for the Cubs rotation and for Shota Imanaga in general?
How big?
Yeah.
I don't think it's really that big. I don't think you have to panic that quick.
Okay.
I think when you look at the bullpen, as Craig alluded to, you know, you have some guys down there, and Keller, who's started before, Drew Pomeranz, who's been in that role before. So you have some options with a couple of days off. We won't get into the schedule in a minute. And I think that's the big thing, right? You have some guys down here, AAA as well.
They could fill some big shoes because we know that's what Shota has right now.
You're right, big shoes, but I think you have to understand your personnel and what you have, and these guys understand the situation. You give us a start or two. We don't know how long it's going to be for Shota. I think that's, you know, when you talk about 15 days, you never know how guys feel, right? So we looked at Javier Assad when he was going through his situation, had oblique, now you're on the 60-day. So you just don't know how guys come back from certain, you know, injuries. This one has been around for a little bit. We had his last start in Pittsburgh. So you have to make sure he's A-okay. You know, mentally he has to be strong. His velo was down a little bit yesterday as far as just him pushing off his legs. So he has to get those back where he's feeling comfortable. And then these guys have to step up. It's always about next man up mentality.
Absolutely.
Always.
And we saw some of those options. Cade Horton, he may be the front runner. You take a look at what he's been able to do. 6 innings, 1 run allowed in his last 2 starts down on the farm. Is it time that when the phone rings, Cade Horton says, oh, okay, I'll be wherever you need me to be, Jed?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you definitely going to show face. But I think the big thing, Cole, and we talked about it yesterday, well, at least is he's hot, right? He's hot. He's feeling good.
Confident.
He's confident. His fastball, Lance gave us some nuggets, sitting at 96. He was at 94 last season. So it's a 2-mile-an-hour uptick. He's added a sinker to help against right-hander hitters. So all these things And if I look at this and I say, Cole, to you, do we want to have him in New York? I know at some point in his career he's going to have to pitch in New York. I get it. But if you're coming up for your first start, which would be his time to go back out there on the bump, would you want the Mets or would you have him for the Marlins or the White Sox?
I mean, you would like to think, hey, you'd like to give him a nice soft landing against the Miami Marlins or the White Sox. However, if he goes out there and pitches well against the New York Metropolitans, the sky could be the limit for him because all of his starts, they've lined up identically with Shota Imanaga starts, Cliff.
No, it makes sense. I just was thinking at home, take that drive from Iowa, get your mind right. You know, look, listen, you don't take anybody lightly, but the Marlins and the White Sox come in to town here in Chicago in front of the hometown fans. Like, I just feel that's a little bit better than going to New York. But like I said, you're going to have to pitch against Juan Soto and Pete Alonso at some point.
Well, good point. And what kind of confidence boost would that give him if he does indeed get the call and he has to go head-to-head with the New York Mets? Because his last 6 starts, well, 29 innings, a 1.24 ERA. He's dialed in, and no time seems better than right now.
I always say you get a guy when he's hot. And look, when I got called up to the league, I wasn't hot. You know what I'm saying? And it, you know, you just don't know how you're gonna feel, right? You're hoping you feel good. You're hoping everything works out. Even when you look at trades, when you make a trade and you get guys on your roster, you're hoping they're doing exactly what they need to be doing at that particular time to get there, because you can get the name, but not the play.
Okay.
So you want a guy and a youngster, and Kate, if he's hot right now and you bring him up, man, you get him at the right time because he's feeling good about the ball coming off the fingertips for sure.
And a lot of people have said, well, he doesn't have enough starts down on the farm. 36 minor league starts, a 2.79 ERA. I'm not necessarily putting Cade Horton in that Paul Skeens stratosphere.
No.
But Paul Skeens had a very small body of work down on the farm, and we saw what he's been able to do.
Yeah, I think sometimes you don't want to waste it. I think right when a guy's ready, right?
Seize the day.
When you know he's mature enough to handle it, when you know he's ready, and there's nothing else for him to prove down on the minors, it's time. And you know, and we're seeing more and more in the game where you're getting guys getting called up, and guys go, man, he ain't spending much time. Why? Why you need to stay down there longer? I mean, if you're hitting the ball well, if you're throwing the ball well, you can feel, you mature, you can handle big league life. And well, you don't know that until you get there, but you kind of have an idea what guys can handle. Let's go.
Well, maybe the Cubs and Cade Horton will be in that seize the day mentality. Carpe diem, we'll see over the next few, and we will bring the news to you as it continues to unfold, because there's a